You are listening to the Live Well with Arthritis podcast, helping you to live a healthier and happier life with your arthritis. Every episode contains science-backed support, expert advice, and a deep understanding of the reality of living with arthritis. I'm your host, Emily Johnson, also known as Arthritis Foodie. I'm a best-selling author and the founder of Live Well with Arthritis. Whether you've been living with arthritis for years, or you're navigating a new diagnosis, or perhaps you have symptoms and are looking for answers, this podcast is for you. For more support, you can join the waitlist for my course, Live Well with Arthritis, on www.livewellwitharthritis.com/waitlist. That's www.livewellwitharthritis.com/waitlist. Places are limited, so the earlier you sign up, the better. Now, let's get into the episode. I am so excited to welcome back a very special guest to the show today, my friend Ali. Ali DiGiacomo is an absolute force in the chronic illness community. She's a digital writer, content creator, patient advocate, and certified personal trainer, all with a shared mission to empower and connect those living with health challenges like arthritis. Ali wears many hats and she wears them all brilliantly. You might know her from her incredible advocacy work on social media under the handle Another Day with RA, where she uses her platform to amplify patient voices and foster the kind of support we all need on the hard days, with complete honesty, authenticity, and humour of what it's like to live with RA. She also helps health and wellness brands bring their stories to life and build meaningful online communities as a digital writer and content strategist. Ali is dedicated to making movement accessible, safe, and most importantly, fun for people living with chronic illness. Through her own fitness app, she's proving every day that movement is for everybody, no matter where you are in the world, which is important to Ali as she's currently been on the road and is on the road herself. Ali, it's such a joy to have you back on the podcast. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I love your podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. So, Ali, last time we were chatting, you were just about to embark and take life on the move. And right now you're back for a little bit, but then you're traveling again. So, where in the world are you? And has the reality of traveling with RA lived up to the expectations and what you were thinking it was going to be like?
Yeah, so I just got back from Italy. I was there for 4 weeks, so a month. It was a long time, but it was really exciting. We went for the Winter Olympics, and it was just surreal being at the Olympics and seeing all the athletes. I wish I could have stayed for the Paralympics, but they have a 2 week break before they go into that, or else I would have definitely stayed for that. But we are watching it on TV. But we just got back to the States, and we have a I think like 3 week break until we go get our Airstream. So we are very excited, but we are going to take a break because traveling abroad for 4 weeks was a lot. And I was sick for the majority of it. And I learned a lot of lessons traveling abroad. Again, I've traveled abroad most of my life because I grew up in Saudi Arabia. And when I say abroad, abroad for people in the US, but I grew up in Saudi Arabia. And so I have been traveling a lot. And I did spend about 4 to 5 months in Italy about 12 years ago. And I was also sick back then too. So it was like full circle. But anyway, we go get our Airstream in 3 weeks and then we're going to head west and we're going to go back to the daily travel. And I do miss the Airstream and I'm really excited about it, but I am excited to have 3 weeks to just rest and recover. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Oh gosh, amazing. For people listening who don't know what an Airstream is, what is an Airstream? Because it's
Yeah.
not something that's common in the UK, I don't think. I don't know if we have them here.
Oh, yeah, yeah, true. Yeah, I am so used to saying it. But yes, an Airstream is a travel trailer. So originally we were going to do van life. Like I'm sure a lot of people know van life. It's very popular on social media. So back in 2019, my partner and I were looking into it, and then COVID hit, of course, like everything. And it was actually a perfect time to go during COVID. But it we took a couple of years to think about it, and I'm really glad we did because we decided to go with the Airstream, which is a travel trailer. You might have seen it online. It looks kind of like a bullet, like it's like a silver tin bullet looking trailer, and it attaches to our car. And I'm glad that we waited to do this for a couple of years before jumping into van life because we have a cat, and it's easier to have the cat stay in the trailer and we take our car elsewhere. So it's great that we could just park the trailer, unhitch it, and then drive our car off. So that's what an Airstream is. You guys should look it up. It's really cool. It's really fun. We have the smallest one they offer because, of course, it was the cheapest, and it's 16 feet. So I live in a 16 square foot home.
That is absolutely awesome. Oh my God, there's so much I want to pick your brains on about living like this. It's awesome. And you have, of course, your cat Cooper,
Yep.
who comes with you for your travels. So, how do you manage your condition whilst on the road like that? And how did you have to plan for it? Because, when you've got medications to be on and your rheumatologist to see and blood tests to have, etc. How did you manage the admin like before you set off and whilst you're away?
Yeah, so it has proved to be very difficult. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I do encourage everybody to travel, but it is very difficult. So you would think since I had between 2019 to 2025, which is when we got it, to think about how I'm going to do this, but a lot changed in that time. So I left my job. I was a personal trainer, and then we moved to New York. We did a lot of things were changing. So same with insurance. Luckily, my rheumatologist and I, because I was traveling so much, had a really good relationship with doing Zoom calls for our appointments. And then whenever I was in New York State, then I would go see her in person. So it was really great. However, I changed to Medicare in the States, which is basically it's like free healthcare, but it's awful. And so because I'm a freelancer, it's hard to get in the US. It's really hard to get insurance when you're a freelancer because you don't work for a job full time. So it's really tricky. So I'm in the process of trying to get that changed to where I could pay for insurance. I wish it was affordable in the States, but it's not. So because of that, I am not able to get my medication on the road. And so a lot of people are like, I can't believe you made this jump to live in an Airstream when it's going to cause all these complications for your medication. But the truth is, I had been wanting to do like van life, Airstream life for so many years that I wasn't going to let my chronic illness stop me. So when the opportunity presented itself, and it really presented itself like overnight. So we put in some bids for houses in New York, and we did maybe 5 bids in the span of like 3 years. And at the last house that we put a bid on, I was like, if we do not get this house, I'm going to the Airstream dealer tomorrow. Like, we're going to live this life. We want to travel. We don't want to stay put. I don't know why we're putting bids on houses. So we didn't get the bid. The next day, we called the Airstream dealer. They had an Airstream. The day after that, we got a car that was big enough to tow it. So this literally happened in 3 days. And then the day after that, we put a deposit in on the Airstream. So it really happened in a week. And I didn't have time to think, like, stop and think, oh, how is my medication going to get to me and all these questions. And I didn't realize that on Medicare or Medicaid, I always get Medicare, you can't get your medications delivered to you. It has to be within the state. So I didn't find that out until we hit the road. So we hit the road. I find out I can't get my injections sent to me and I can't get any of my pills like sent to any pharmacy. Yeah. So it was a little tricky. I went a couple of months without medication, and I don't recommend that. And I spoke to my rheumatologist, and she assured me it's going to be okay. And if I go off this medication for a month or two, it's fine. We can figure out a way to maybe do a pill and have it like somebody send it to me. So it was very tricky, and it still is. I'm still trying to learn how to navigate it, but I wouldn't let it stop me. I'm not going to let it ruin my dream. Just like I didn't let my RA ruin my trip to Italy because I was sick for 4 weeks the whole time we were there. And it was really heavy and really hard because the first week I was just so fatigued and I couldn't move the way my partner Travis can. And after just destroying my body for a week, I went downhill for the next 3 weeks. I got the flu, I got a sinus infection, I got a cold, I was flaring. It was brutal. But I was like, I'm not going to let my RA stop me. Like, I may have to be in the Airbnb for 3 days straight, which I was, and then emerge and enjoy myself. But yeah, so it is tricky, but I do recommend not like doing the research before you go. If it hadn't happened in a week, I probably would have had more time. But yeah, doing the research and talking to your rheumatologist because I let her know well in advance my plans. So we kind of been working together. So it is tricky though.
Yeah, it sounds like you have been navigating a lot of different things there, like getting your medications where you're going to be,
Hmm.
yeah, and being off medication for a certain point as well, which must have been quite hard, knowing that you've been on it for so long as well.
Yeah.
That must have been really stressful.
Mm.
I have a sticker on my laptop that says everything is figure outable, and it's something
Yes.
it's something I say to myself a lot. So like I know like no matter what, everything is figure outable, and you've managed to figure out what you need to do so far, and I'm sure you will continue to do that. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
I'm so sorry you were sick in Italy as well. That's
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
really
it's because
tough.
it's the winter. Like it's, we went in February and like the
Mm.
flu and we were at the Winter Olympics, so we were in huge crowds. And even if you wore a mask, like everyone's coughing in your face, everyone is just sneezing. And I got coughed on so much, like in the
Oh,
public transit. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get sick. And I got sick. And so did Travis. It was just inevitable that we were going to get sick.
oh, bless you both. Oh gosh. Well, at least you have each other for those moments, I suppose.
Yes,
That
he
really
was a real
helps, doesn't it?
trooper. Yes, yeah, he
Yeah,
helped me
yeah.
out a lot because I ended up getting the flu the very last week. So last week I had the flu and I was like throwing up in the streets. Sorry to be vulgar, but it was really rough. I was
Oh.
like throwing up in Pompeii. It was not a good look. And then I was in the Airbnb for like 3 days straight without eating. And he went out and did his tourism stuff and he had a good time. But yeah, he helped me. He would go get me. All I could eat were oranges last week. So he would just get me oranges and oranges and it was cute. But
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
I bet
I
you're sick of oranges
definitely
now.
I'm sick of oranges. Yes. I lost weight going to Italy, which usually isn't the case. Usually you gain
Mm.
weight, but no, I lost it all last week.
Oh, bless your heart. And how was your arthritis during that time when you were poorly as well?
Oh, it was bad. It was bad. I haven't really had issues with my arthritis. I have some other underlying condition that causes me chest pain, and we don't know what causes that. But my arthritis typically is manageable with my medication, even though I had been off my medication for a month before Italy, so that wasn't great. But it was bad. I was like, my knees were really achy and really flaring, and because of the
Mm.
flu, when you get body ache, it just enhanced my joint pain. And I haven't had joint pain like that in years. So when I go see my rheumatologist next week, I'm going to be like, listen, my labs are going to be all over the place from the flu. Like, just know. So yeah, it was really tricky. And also, a lot of Italy is not accessible. It's not very disabled friendly, especially Naples. Like the city of Naples is not disabled. I don't know how anybody who's disabled lives there. I truly don't because it's on a hill. So everything is steps and everything is like elevated. And we were on, they said the fifth floor, but it was like 8 flights of stairs to get there. Yeah. So I, especially with the flu and arthritis in my knees, I wasn't doing well. I was not doing well in Naples. So if I almost asked Travis to get a wheelchair somehow, and you know me, like I dance, I run, I don't run. Let me take that back. I dance, I walk fast. Okay. And then I'm not a runner, but yeah. So I was like, you're going to have to get a wheelchair because we had plans to go to a football game, the Napoli football game, and which was really exciting. It's been a huge dream of Travis's. And I was like, you're gonna have to like rent a wheelchair for me because I don't think I'm gonna make it. Luckily, I was okay and he helped me. Like I held on to him, but it was rough. And so if you're gonna go to Italy, just always book an Airbnb that's on the first floor and or the second, and just be aware that there's going to be a lot of walking, and maybe if you need to rent a wheelchair, look ahead of time where you can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really good advice. And how did you manage your sort of flare-ups in your knees whilst you were there? Did you have anything you'd packed with you to help in those moments?
Yes. So luckily I packed this company. I think it's called Nature's Wellness. It's like all
Mhm.
natural and it's really great. And it's like a roll-on like pain reliever. And also they have the like sticky things that you could put like on your back or anything that's like aching. And it's kind of like that icy hot feeling. And
Mhm.
so I had two of those pads. So the day I was like throwing up in the streets of Pompeii, I had like a pad on my stomach, a pad on my back, and then I was like putting the stuff all over my knees. So luckily I had that, and that definitely helped my knees. I forgot to bring my knee sleeves because I've been doing so well. I didn't think I needed them. I have it on right now, my knee sleeve. And so I forgot my knee sleeves, and my mom was like, "Why did you forget that?" And I'm like, "Because I'm usually fine." But like if you go to Italy, if you go anywhere in Europe, or anywhere at all, honestly, like even the Middle East, anywhere, just bring everything. Bring like a whole bag of medical stuff, like treatments. All I had was Tylenol for my fever because I had a really high fever, and all I had was Tylenol. So like bring everything. Like bring your knee sleeves, bring a heating pad, bring a heating pad. Like I didn't have a
Mhm.
heating pad. Yeah, bring a heating pad. Bring everything that you can because I really went into this trip thinking I'd be okay, and I wasn't. But thank God I had the nature's wellness stuff because it helped a lot.
Oh, bless you. I love the optimism, and you kind of you always want to hope that everything's going to be okay, but
Yeah.
you just never know how your body's going to react to certain things and certain, yeah, aspects of the traveling. It really gets me as well. Like the actual traveling itself, like
Mm,
going somewhere on an aeroplane will knock me out. Like is
yeah.
exhausting in itself.
Yeah.
Like let alone actually being somewhere that's not home. So,
Yeah.
it's a whole different ball game when you live with something like arthritis. It's just an extra thing to have to think about.
Yeah.
Um,
It really
how do
is.
yeah, how do you, I was going to ask you how you navigate, obviously you've got your Airstream, but if you were, obviously you traveled on a plane to get to Italy, right? So how did you navigate airports, being on the aeroplane? How was that for you in terms of like carrying luggage or like being mindful of what to eat, resting, like all of that kind of stuff? How was your travel from the US to Europe?
Yeah, so I would do a lot of things differently next time. So it was my first time going abroad since COVID. So since 2019, it was my first time traveling. So like the first time in 6 years. And I tried my best to be prepared. And so I wore an outfit that has like compression built into it, like it's like a compression, they're
Mm,
compression tights. Yeah, I forget the name. I think elastique, like French, elastique.
oh,
They
lovely.
gifted, yes, yes, they gifted it to me, and they have like these little like dots inside that like add compression, and the pants are really tight. So I did try my best. I wore that. I wore compression socks, and I wore the comfiest things I could wear. And I really do like Elastique. I should make a post about them. It was really great. It's an investment. It's pricey, but it really did help with the swelling because, as you know, with arthritis, we swell, or with really any chronic. I think every single human being swells on a plane, whether they have a chronic
Mm.
illness. Ours is just way worse. So I did try my best with that. I did end up bringing a carry-on so that I could roll it instead of carry one on my back. But I ended up, we made it to Italy and it really wasn't the flight. The flight was fine. I was awake the whole time. I tried my best not to eat like too many salty things, salty snacks on the plane. I really tried my best, but it was a red eye. I stayed up the whole night. We made it to Italy and then we had to lug two big suitcases, two carry-ons, and our backpacks through cobblestone streets. And that's
Oof.
what got me. I think that's what destroyed me more than the flight itself. Like
Mm.
pushing our luggage and like my shoulders, my forearms, everything hurt. And I had been up the whole night. So I'd been up like 2 days straight by the time we made it to our Airbnb. And we did that in every single spot. So we did it in Milan, Florence, and Naples, where we had to navigate pushing our luggage through the streets. And that's what took me out. Like it just took me out. And I have video of it because Travis, my partner, was like, I don't know how you're doing this right now. And I was like, I don't either. You know, when you just like power through?
Yeah,
Oh,
I've
well,
been there.
yeah.
Yep.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
My recommendation is save a ton of money to spend on Ubers.
Mm.
There were two times where I ended up just getting an Uber, but sometimes in Europe they won't come. Like you can book it and they won't come, or they'll just like cancel it, So we had no other choice but to push it through the streets, and that's really what took me out. So I highly recommend if you are chronically ill and traveling, don't always rely on Uber. And if you can, pack as light as possible. Just
Mm.
pack as light as possible. You can do laundry, anywhere. People, they have washers and dryers that you can go to. It's kind of a hassle, but just pack light for your own benefit. Because if you do have to end up pushing your stuff through the streets, it won't be as hard. So that was harder than the flight itself, even though the flight did not add to it. Like I was very inflamed. I flared that
Mm.
week. I was so tired. I think that's what jump started me getting sick was the travel because it was just we got to our Airbnb and then we were off. Like we went to the first Olympic game. We went to Olympic Games the whole week, which honestly is a blessing. I'm not complaining. I loved it so much. It was truly amazing just to be there. However, if you are traveling, don't overbook yourself like we did. But I mean, what can we do? We were at the Winter Olympics. We went to as many as we could. So no matter what, we were going to overbook ourselves. But if you can, possibly try to put in a day after your travel day that you can rest, because I think that really would have helped.
Yeah, I call it the buffer day.
The
Yeah.
buffer day. Yeah. You need a
Yeah.
buffer day
Yeah.
everywhere you go.
Yeah. Every time I go
Hmm.
away via an aeroplane, I have to have a buffer day or at least a buffer half a day
Half a
because
day. Yeah.
I just can't go straight into stuff and my body just
No.
needs that rest, because
Yeah.
flying is inflammatory regardless, like whether you have a condition or not. So,
Yeah.
for us it's even more inflammatory and then the lack of sleep as well, which is also inflammatory, affects our immune system. So yeah,
Yes.
try and
Yeah.
try and
Buffer
get that
day.
buffer day. Yeah.
It's mandatory. I think it's just, especially like the older you get to. We're not 21 anymore. Like it's
Mm.
it's
Oh,
mandatory. Like chronically ill or not, I'm sure you want a buffer day.
yeah, gosh, absolutely, 100% amazing. Is there anything else you want to share about your travels and any tips that you have before we move on to the next section about method? I'm going to do a little bit of methotrexate and medications, but
Yes.
um, anything
Yes.
else about travel that you want to share with the listeners?
Yes, I do want to say give yourself grace. So when I got the
Mm.
flu last week, it was our last week there, and we were at Pompeii, so like in Vesuvius. I hiked up Vesuvius, which is the volcano that destroyed Pompeii, and it was fascinating, and it was something on my bucket list, and I was really excited. However, by the time we got to Pompeii, I was very ill. Like I was deathly ill. I was really trying not to throw up on the streets. I ended up doing it anyway, but at least I made it out of the city of Pompeii, but the archaeological site.
Yeah,
But
God.
I was so from there, I was violently ill. Okay. I had the shakes, I was throwing up. We and Travis was like really worried because like I was really shaking really bad and we couldn't get it under control. And the whole time I just felt so upset with myself that I was ruining his trip. I was like, oh my God, like I'm ruining his trip. I'm ruining, like, I'm just why? And I was sick the whole time. So like I was trying my best, but I was really sick the whole 4 weeks that finally by this point where my body was just like going crazy, like just projectiling, like she was upset. Okay. The body was upset. She was like, you put us through way too much. You hiked a volcano on top of it. Like, that's it. We're done. And so I was feeling so guilty that Travis called my mom on FaceTime while I'm like throwing up in the toilet at the Airbnb. It was not lovely. And she goes, I'm crying at this point, right? I'm not saying this is a sob story. I'm gonna come to a point soon, but I'm crying at this point. And she goes, are you crying because you don't feel well or because you feel guilty right now? And I was like, ow, Bonnie, my mom. I was
Ouch.
like,
Yep.
yeah. Because she was like, because you really, she's
Oh.
like, I know you well and you should not feel guilty. Like, this is not
Mm.
your fault. And I'm like, oh my God, but it is like I'm always sick and it's always annoying. And it's like that's so annoying to Travis because Travis was sick too, but he's typically like he's healthy. So he was able to get over it and be fine. Whereas my body just kept going downhill, like just going, going, going. Whereas he like was sick for a week, was coughing, but he still was able to work out. He was able to go eat everything. So I just felt very guilty. And so for those that travel, do not feel guilty for that buffer day. Do not feel guilty if you get sick and you can't go out with your friends on your trip. So, because there were 3 days after that day where I stayed in the Airbnb and he would go out and sightsee every day. And he was so sweet about it. He would bring me things back. He would show me pictures that he took. Like he was really great. But if you're with somebody who is, who loves you, friends or partners or family, they'll understand. Like you want to be there. So I just felt extremely guilty and I was so upset and I just kept beating myself up. I'm like, why am I always sick? Is it going to be like this for the rest of my life? When you're sick, you feel like you're never going to get better. I was like
Yep.
laying in bed. I was like, I'm going to be like this forever. I'm just always sick. I'm ruining his trip. Just don't feel guilty. It's not your fault. Give yourself grace. That's all I want to say.
Thank you so much, Ali, for sharing that because I know people will be able to relate to it because I definitely can relate to that feeling of like, oh, feeling guilty and feeling like I'm letting people down. For me, it's like that feeling of
Yes.
letting people down. Oh, I hate it.
Mm.
So, yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Really caught me as well when your mum said that to you. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, like she was right. I was crying well, I was crying because I was, throwing up, but like I was also crying because I thought I was ruining, like I thought I ruined Pompeii. Like I was like, I really wanted to see it. And then we had to leave even though they were closing. It was a whole thing, but I felt bad. I was like, what if I ruined his experience? And he was like, I've been there before. It's no big deal. We're good. And we'll go next time.
He is such a sweetheart. We love Travis.
Yeah.
We love
We love
Travis.
Travis.
Okay, amazing, Ali. Thank you so much. So, this next section, I thought we could chat about our medication journeys and methotrexate and how we cope with like the methotrexate hangover that obviously
Yep.
we're very familiar with. And yeah, I was going to ask you about taking medications abroad, but maybe that's one I don't know because of your situation and not being able to. Maybe we can come back to that at another point. So
Yeah.
yeah, how has your journey been with your medications and where are you now with it and how are you feeling about everything?
Yeah, so right now I'm on Orencia injections, as much as I can, as long as I can get it delivered. And I did bring it to Italy and I had no issues at all. Like they never stopped me or asked. And I just
Amazing.
put them I put them in a lunchbox with the ice packs and luckily it survived. It was a direct flight. So if you're going to do multiple flights, I recommend like bringing little plastic baggies and asking people for ice in the airports. I'm sure they'll give you ice that you can
Yeah,
put
of
in the plastic
course.
baggies. Yeah.
Such a good
And
idea.
also, just know if you're flying and your ice packs have defrosted, you can't go through security. I think they'll take them from you because I've had them take my ice packs that were already defrosted. I didn't have my medications with me, but they were like, nope, you can't have this. So just be aware. Anyway,
Mm,
so I'm on Orencia injections. I was on methotrexate injections. Also, the brand was called Rasuvo, but I did stop in couple of years ago, about 2 years ago, I did end taking methotrexate. And my reason for ending it was I just wanted to see, because I had been on it for 8 years, I wanted to see how I would do being off of it because my brain fog was so severe. Luckily, my other side effects were okay, but the brain fog and the hangover was just so severe that I was like, I just want to know what it's like to not be on it after 8 years.
Mm,
And so I did go off of it and I did okay. I'm still doing okay. However, I will say I did feel better when I was on it. Joint wise, like it working methotrexate with my Orencia, both of them together did make me feel better joint wise. My brain fog is somewhat, it's still a little bit there. I mean, it's just a side effect of RA, regardless if you're on medication or not. But I do feel more clear. So for me, it's always something my doctor said we may have to go back on in the future, like depending on next week when she sees my labs. She'll she'll be like, I don't know, maybe we should go back on. But I did feel better, unfortunately. I say unfortunately because I don't really want to go back on, but my joints did prefer to have both the biologic and the methotrexate, which is I think a DMARD because they work well
mhm.
together. So, but the brain fog. It was just, I just needed to see. I needed to go a couple years without it because it was just really intense. But how are you feeling? Are you still on it?
Yes, I've been on it since 2015.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
So,
That's what I
I
was when I
mean,
started.
yeah. So I think, oh my gosh, I did
Yeah.
not know
2015.
that.
Yeah.
Methotrexate twins.
Methotrexate twins. Yep. I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, yeah. Love it. Yeah. I'm also on a biologic as well, but because I've been doing so well, they've reduced the amount of methotrexate I've been on over the last sort of, I'd say like since 2019. I think they
Oh,
started
wow.
gradually reducing my methotrexate. So I'm on 10
Oh,
10 mg
congrats.
methotrexate now, which is
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
That's really
But
great.
it's like it's always a is it going to be like this forever? Is it not?
Yeah.
Is it like there's always ups and downs with medications, which is why I sort of don't really speak too heavily about the medications I'm on online because I worry that people might jump and go, oh, if she's on that, then I must be on that, then I must go and be on
Yeah.
that, and it can be
Yeah.
kind because everyone is so individual.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's not one set path. You're speaking about the brain fog for methotrexate. I don't get brain fog on methotrexate at
Yeah.
all. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, so it impacts people in different ways, doesn't it? And I know when I first started methotrexate and I was on the methotrexate tablets for the first 6 months, I every Sunday, because I take it on a Friday evening, so every Sunday I was just so sick. Like had that
Mm.
methotrexate hangover, sickness, didn't want to eat anything did like that's probably when I did get the brain fog actually for the
Yeah.
first 6 months of being on it. And it just, yeah, it's really miserable. But then I think because my body had, has gotten used to it, I
Yeah.
don't really get those symptoms like I used. And also I'm on the injections now as well, not the tablets.
Hmm.
So it's not
Yeah.
going through my gut, which obviously that was causing the feeling of feeling sick.
Exactly.
And the folic acid helps as well, with that sickness. But yeah, it's I mean, I'm so grateful for these medications. Like,
Same.
where would both of us be without them? Like they are amazing. And I do think, yeah, I can't fully rely on just the medications though, because I know if I don't follow the right things for my diet and lifestyle, that will set me back, like
Hmm.
as
Oh,
well,
yeah.
massively.
Oh,
Yeah.
massively. I
Yeah.
know. I know from
Yeah,
eating carbs for a month.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It does set you back. Yeah.
Yeah, it really sets me back. So it's yeah, the medications are there, but they do a better job because I look after myself. They kind of work in tandem with my diet and lifestyle, which
You need
is
both.
yeah, you need both.
Yeah.
That's what I
They're both
advocate
equally
too.
important too.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah.
said, like if you mess up your nutrition and diet like I did for a month, and as you should when you're in Italy, but your body just starts to freak out. And I'm like, okay, but I have the medication, but I'm not doing well. So I'm like not great. And I'm wondering, like, when I see my labs next week, my doctor's gonna be like, oh my God, your RA is getting worse. And I'm gonna be like, no, I think it really is because my diet and nutrition was just so messed up. It was effed.
Mm,
Sorry for the language, but it was just messed up. And
mm.
like give me a chance to like trying to revive it?
Yeah, 100%. And also being sick as well and having the flu,
Yeah.
all of that will have, and being sick, like physically being
Yeah.
sick,
Yeah.
will have really impacted that as well. So yeah, it's a whole thing. But yeah, I wanted to also talk about I think we touched on it on the episode you did with me. I think you were on episode two, are you? I think you're on
I think
episode two
so. Yeah, it
of
was early
Rheumatoid
on.
Arthritis podcast. It was early on. It was early on.
Yeah.
But we touched on it then, which was medicine shaming and
Yes.
how, of course, people would rather, a lot of the time, rather not be on medicine. I feel like it's like that's like a trope, but
Hmm.
that there's a feeling of like that you're not good enough, or that you are not trying hard enough, or you are sort of, yeah, shamed for
Yeah.
being on medication. So I just want you to speak on your experience of that, whether, in person or virtually online when you speak about medications.
Yeah, so for me in the beginning, it was really tricky. So, luckily, when I was diagnosed, I was able to go medication free for 6 years because I had surgery. And so the doctor was like, "You're probably going to have to go on medication in 6 years." And I was like, "Okay, 6 years to the date, like literally to the month," which is really crazy. I had to start methotrexate. And because methotrexate, if you Google it, it just comes off as so scary, even though us RA patients are on such a low dose. We're not like on the cancer level of
Mm,
methotrexate. And so when people read methotrexate and they read the word chemo and they read, even though I don't even think we can label it as a chemo in our, I'm not sure, but for us RA patients, because we're on such a low dose, but they just immediately start to judge. And they're like, there has to be a better way. Like, can't you just do it with Advil and Tylenol and just natural remedies. And unfortunately, like, no, you can't. But when this happened, I didn't have social media. And so the only people that knew I was starting this medication were my immediate friends and family. And so there was a couple of pushback there. They were just like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I'm like, "No, of course I don't want to do this. Like, no, I would totally rather not be on a drug that has the word chemo involved with it. Like, no." So it was really tricky. And people just assumed they wouldn't do it. Like, they would just diet and do all these things where dieting can be extremely awful if you do it wrong. Like, yeah. And you're already going through so much and you're in so much pain and
mm,
also at risk for infection. So I feel like medicine shaming, even if it's just a little bit, like, even if it's not massive, like a massive argument, and somebody just implanted that in your brain by saying a small comment, it can really be harmful. Because for me, I had the opportunity to start injections instead of pills after a few
mm,
months when I was having really bad hangovers. Like you said, nausea, I couldn't eat. I felt like I was going to throw up, but I never did. Like, I always ran to the toilet, but never actually threw up. So it was really awful. And my nurses were like, "Oh, you can start an injection." But when I said that to my friends at the time or family, my mom was always great. Just want to say she was always pro everything the doctor said. She was always on their side. But when I was telling friends and family, I had a different reaction. And so I didn't start the injections because they were like, "That's too intense. Like, you shouldn't be injecting something into your body." So I could have had relief back then, but no, I stayed with the pills and I, suffered for, I mean, you don't suffer for long on methotrexate, like you said, Emily, like 6 months, but I had the opportunity to not. And I wish I had social media back then. And I wish I knew people like you who were like, "No, injections are great. Like, it doesn't go through your stomach." But instead, I went, I don't know, 5, 6 years on the pills. So it can be very harmful. And I always recommend really listen to your doctor and get a second opinion. Like, if you're nervous about it, you can talk to another doctor, get second opinion, talk to people like us who have been on the medication and experienced it. But we also want to make it clear that we're all different. Like you said, Emily, like, you didn't have brain fog, I did. Like, we all react to medication so differently. So yeah, it can be very harmful and it can be very upsetting emotionally. Like, there were lots of arguments between me and Travis even at the time, who wasn't used to this. And really, with medicine shamers, they won't understand until it happens either to them or to somebody super close to them. So this person, it ended up happening to her mom. So then she realized, like, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I get it now." So you can try your best to educate them, but you really just have to maybe not talk to them about it, and maybe just don't bring it up again. And unfortunately, that's hard, but find somebody like us that you can talk to. Get a friend that is on it. Have your person, because
mm,
it can be really triggering.
no, really, really can. And having that boundaries of going, okay, you're not the person I can talk to about this on,
Yeah.
and yeah, thank you so much for sharing all of that. And for someone listening who is looking at all these different medications that they've been told that they have to go on, or they're about to see the rheumatologist and they're really scared about starting methotrexate or starting, naproxen or whatever it might be, a
Yeah.
biologic, what
Hmm.
would you want to say to them? Because I feel like I want to go back in time and like hug myself and tell her it's gonna be okay, because like
Yeah.
it's really hard. So what would you say to someone listening who is either about to start those medications or is scared of starting them, or yeah, what
Yeah.
would you say, Ali?
Oh, I wish I could go back in time too. Like, oh, I really wish I could. There are a couple things I would love to say to someone just starting out. One, you got to give yourself peace of mind, and you should definitely talk to someone your age who has been on that medication and who has the same autoimmune disease as you. Instagram is great. It's how we found each other. You know, you can definitely just type in the hashtag of the drug you're on. You could probably find somebody like who did a video on it, like who has been on it. So I would recommend hearing about their experience. And I know we said everyone's different, and they are. And so their experience might not be the same as yours, but you can get some tips and tricks from them. You know, like when I had to go on Emerald, that's how I found our friend Liv, was because I put hashtag Emerald. I saw her doing an injection video, reached out to her. We're best friends now. But I asked her, I was like, how was it? I even used her video the first time, or the first time I injected alone. I would use her video and watch. So you can learn a lot. And even though your side effects might be different from one another, you can relate to being on it, you know, just how like we can relate to being on methotrexate for some reasons. And so I definitely recommend reaching out to someone your age. And I say your age because I reached out to some like 80, 90-year-olds who weren't very nice. And their experience is definitely going to be different than mine, but they were awful. The first thing she said to me was, it was like on Facebook back at the time. I didn't have Instagram. She was like, my brother died on methotrexate. I was like, oh my God, like how old was your
Oh
brother?
no.
95? Like, yeah, like, and yes, her brother was in fact in his 90s. I was like, it was the
Oh
worst.
God. I'm so sorry you had to
It
deal
was,
with that.
yes, it was a support group on Facebook with a bunch of
Oh
80-year-olds. I'm like,
no.
okay, no, I
Oh.
need to find someone my age. So that's when I got Instagram, I was like, oh, thank God, like people my age. So so definitely find somebody your age who has your chronic illness and is on the same drug. If you can, that would be really great. Another thing is tell your doctor your worries. Like genuinely tell them, hey, I am worried about, write it down on the notes app. I'm worried about this, this, and this. Can you please give me peace of mind about it? So for methotrexate, I'm worried that it's a chemo. Your doctor's going to be like, well, not necessarily in your case. It's not really a chemo because you're on such a low dose. Like there's people on 100 milligrams, you're on 25. So they can definitely give you peace of mind. And your doctor is going to, if you start methotrexate or mostly all drugs, usually your doctor does lab work for you once a month for like the first 3 months to make sure that you're okay. And if not, you can ask for that. Hey, can I get my labs done every month, you know, because I'm nervous. So your doctor is going to give you peace of mind. The reason I think we all freak out is because we don't really ask the questions because I'm sure you know when you're in the doctor's office, your brain shuts off. Like it's just immediately shuts off. I don't
Hmm.
know what it is. I definitely made a reel about this because I swear to God, we go in and our brain shuts off and everything we had in there doesn't happen. That's why you have to write it down and bring it in. And you can even hand the notepad to the doctor, like, here, answer all this. And they will. And if they don't, get yourself another doctor because they're not great. Even though in the States they only have 15 minutes with us, you got to get those answered. You got to get those questions answered. So yeah, meet somebody who knows what you're on and has been on it, or you know, can relate in any way. It doesn't have to be exactly somebody with RA exactly on 25 milligrams of methotrexate, just somebody similar. And then also ask your doctor to give you some peace of mind and let them know you're scared. Let them know you're scared. Say like, I'm scared. I'm scared of methotrexate. It's a chemo. It's going to do this, this, and this. And your doctor will be like, if you're afraid of the nausea, okay, well, you can take, I'm not going to say this because I'm not a doctor, but there is an over-the-counter drug you can take to help with nausea. So they'll help you with that. They'll explain about folic acid and how that's going to help you. Like they're going to give you peace of mind. And that's the biggest thing you need. And the third thing I'm just going to say is if you don't take the medication because you're scared, of course you can do all the natural remedies to help the medication, but just realize you can cause more harm to your body by not taking the medication. Because for me, I didn't take medication for 7 weeks and I had my knee drained 7 times in those 7 weeks. And by the last draining, she was like, this could really cause infection. Like you could get a severe infection in your leg. Like this is your whole body. Like this is not okay. So I ended up causing myself joint damage because I didn't want to go on methotrexate for 7 weeks because I was scared of the word chemo. And I didn't ask my doctor. And finally, my doctor was the one I had at the time was had no bedside manner at all. And that's, I think, the reason why I didn't start the drug. So if you're not comfortable with your doctor, get another one because yeah, she was not very nice, but you can also cause risk for infection and you don't want to do that either. So those are my top three.
Oh, I love those top three recommendations, and I can relate to all of them. Thank you so much for sharing those, and it's so relatable. I think I've definitely done an Instagram post on the brain fog that appears, or like the brain shutdown that happens when you're in a in an
Yeah.
appointment. And
Right? Yeah.
it's so important to prepare for those appointments as best as you can ahead of time so that you have notes with you that you can talk through and guide yourself in that appointment so you know you're going to get the most out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got my, for people listening who maybe haven't seen it, I've got a rheumatology appointment workbook on my website that people can buy. It's like, I think
Oh,
it's
I love
six
that.
pounds or something. I've just put it on like a little ebook and they can download it, they can print it at home, fill it in. And yeah, that could also be something that people may
That's
want to
amazing.
use. Yeah, I want to try and get it on Amazon if I can as well. I've managed to
Yeah.
upload it to my website, but I want people to get it on Amazon so they can actually have the physical book of it. So
Yeah, you can
hopefully,
absolutely do that.
yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully, in time, if someone's listening to this, it may be on Amazon as well.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's amazing. We're gonna get it
Um,
on Amazon. I need to have it.
yeah.
Like I want a physical, I want a book so
Yeah,
I can
physical
hand it to the
copy.
doctor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
don't be afraid to do that. Bring that book. I've printed PDFs, so like documents of like all of my notes, and I handed it to them.
Oh,
So
yeah,
don't be
don't be
afraid.
afraid. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't be
Yeah.
afraid to do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And I do have a disclaimer at the end, but I do want to say the all of this medical stuff is like based on mine and Ali's own
Same.
personal
Yeah. We're not
experiences,
doctors.
and
Yeah.
we are not doctors. So
Yeah.
always speak to your doctor rheumatologist about all of your healthcare. Um,
Yes.
so Ali, we're coming towards the end of the episode, and I would love to ask you a couple more questions about
Yeah.
your life in general. Just like I'd love to know a day in the life of Ali.
Yeah. Yeah.
From like because you have such an amazing life. Like you juggle so many things, like your content creation, your fitness app, obviously managing your condition as well. You're managing traveling. So yeah, what does a typical day look like for you, Ali?
Yeah, it's crazy because I've had this dream of mine for 6 years to have a trailer or a van life. So my day is quite different now than it was last year. So it's really exciting and we do travel all the time. So I usually wake up in a campground. That's if I'm not boondocking at some parking lot of a gas station, which is a thing we do. But I usually wake up in a campground and I usually have my first sips. And the really nice thing about living on the road is that your days are kind of slow, like in a good way. Unless you have like a 9 to 5 that you have to call into, but like it's kind of slow. So I make my coffee and it's like a drip coffee. So I like take my time. I have to like heat the water on the stove. And so I wake up, I make my coffee first thing. And it's really lovely because when I lived in a house, like I'm in Travis's parents' house right now, we have a Keurig. So like you go, you make your Keurig, it takes 2 seconds, you have your coffee, you go about your day. But when you live on the road, it's like it's like mandatory slow down. Like I have to heat the water. I have to make sure we have enough propane. It's like crazy. So I end up doing like a ritual of my coffee in the morning. And I usually have my cat Cooper, who I feed him and he's waiting to be fed. And then I'll have my coffee and we'll look out the Airstream window and we'll look at like everybody in the campground walking their dogs. Sometimes I'll go for a walk in the campground if it's okay weather. And then I usually have to do chores. So when you live on the road, you have a small space, but it gets dirty quickly. Even though it's easy to clean, you're cleaning all day because it just gets dirty so quickly. So usually I'll clean like the Airstream because I can't work in an environment that's messy. But I usually will clean, scoop the litter box. Having a litter box in a 16 square foot home is hard. And then I will do whatever freelance work I have to do that day. It's mostly filming videos, like different content for different companies. And then once I'm done that, I usually will try to get my workout in. And in an Airstream, that is really difficult, which is why I'm going to try to make some fun workouts we can do like on the road outside. So I'll either like go for a walk outside, I'll stretch in my bed or on my tiny little floor in the Airstream. I also have a uh, Planet Fitness. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, Planet Fitness membership. And so I'll go to the nearest Planet Fitness and I'll work out there. And then I come back and making dinner is a whole ordeal. So we have to work together, Travis and I, in a tiny little home to make our dinner. And it takes a long time. Again, you have to move slow. So like we have to make the dinner. We only have two burners and then an outside burner. So it takes extra time. And then cleaning takes extra time. And I've found that it's kind of peaceful, like doing the dishes. And sometimes we do it the old fashioned way because we don't have a dishwasher. So again, we're moving slow. I'm finding peace in it. And it really is nice because if you know me, I'm very hyper. I'm pretty sure I have ADHD. My therapist thinks I do. And so I never slow down. So this lifestyle has forced me to slow down and it's really beautiful. So yeah, after that, we usually will just like watch a movie in bed. Our bed is so small that Travis and I sleep opposite ends of one another. And I'll put my little fairy lights on in the Airstream. We'll go for a walk sometimes if it's really nice. And yeah, that's my day. And I do make sure that because I freelance, I do have the opportunity to rest when I need to. For the past couple of months, I do take a nap, which again, the guilt factor comes in. So because I'm like, I shouldn't be napping, I should be working, because that's how our corporate brains work, because we're millennials. We were raised to work our booties off. And so it's nice to kind of give myself grace to have a nap. So I just do want to put that in there, managing my chronic illness. I still have to really pay attention to it, especially on the road, because it's a lot harder, but I'm lucky. I'm forcing myself to keep on getting freelance work because I don't think my body can handle a full 9 to 5, like being on the phone because yeah, unfortunately I need a nap right now. So, but yeah, that's my day. And then we have to pick up and on travel days, it's a whole different thing. But travel days is rough. I'm driving the whole time. But I do make sure to get out and move. And if we're on the road for like 10 hours, I'll park and then get in the Airstream and make our own lunch or something like that. So yeah, those days are a lot harder.
Well, I think all of it is just absolutely incredible. And I'm honestly so proud of you. The
Oh,
life
thank
that you've
you.
built for yourself is just awesome, Ali. Honestly, I'm in awe of you and everything that you do and achieve. So thank you so
Oh,
much for
thank you. And you too. I'm so in awe of you and everything you've achieved just in the past couple of months. Like, I'm excited for you. I'm so excited.
Thanks, girl.
Yeah.
So I always like to leave the listeners with one thing that they can take away with them. So what's one thing that you'd like the listeners to know as we end this episode?
Yeah, so I'm really passionate about, I've said this a million times in the episode, I'm really passionate about finding someone that you can click with that understands what you're going through. Because even though your mom or dad might be your biggest cheerleader or your partner's your biggest cheerleader, it's really necessary to meet somebody that gets it. Because even though they're your biggest cheerleader, they might not understand. Like they don't know what the medication does to you, they don't know what arthritis feels like. And even though we're all different, we can kind of connect with one another on it. Like we can relate on so many levels, not just like what our symptoms are. So highly, highly, highly recommend meeting someone. Just go on social media. You'll find somebody. I have like a whole highlight on my page of my arthritis besties. I made it like 6 years ago, but it's still there. Emily, you're on it. So it's
Of course
it's
I am.
everyone. Yeah, yeah, of course. And so it's like a whole bunch of spoonies you can find. Find yourself a community. And there's lots of different communities. If one doesn't click, that's fine. But just know you're not alone in this. And I know that's so cliche. We always say that, but you're really not. Like the world is so big. And although when you get diagnosed, it feels really small. Like it feels like
Mm,
you're the only one going through it because you may be the only one in your close circle that is going through it.
mm.
But reaching out to someone that understands it is life changing. It's life changing. Even if you find one person, will be like, you'll find yourself laughing with that person because you'll be like, oh my God, we can relate on such like dark things, but it's kind of like we can laugh about it and joke about it. And it really will uplift you. It can be your person to go to when your family just may not get it. So I recommend
Mm.
that.
Oh, yes, I love that. And that's exactly what I'm building with Live Well with Arthritis, the program I'm doing, like the coaching. I want people that come onto my course and program to become friends. That's like a big
Yes.
goal of mine. Yeah, because it's just so
Yeah.
important to have that connection with people that understand because your family obviously love you, they want to support you, but they may not fully get it. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank
And
you so
that's
much for
okay
that.
too. That's
Yeah, and
okay
that's
if they
also
don't get
okay. Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's totally fine. You just have to find your person that does because you'll
Yeah.
find yourself running to them to talk to them about it.
100%,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, Ali, it's been so wonderful to chat to you.
Thank
Where can
you.
people find you? Where can
Yeah.
people find
So,
you?
yeah, Instagram and TikTok, it's Another Day with RA. So the letters RA. I also have a website, anotherdaywithra.com. So you can see like all the articles, the podcasts I've been on, and all that jazz. And you can find my fitness app on there as well.
Awesome. Thank you so, so much, Ali. And of
Thank
course, we will have
you.
you on again at some point.
Yes, of course. I will definitely be here. I'm so excited for everything that you're doing. Like snaps to you. I'm so excited to see what you do.
Oh, thank you, darling.
Yes.
Oh, take care. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Bye. You've been listening to the Live Well with Arthritis podcast. If you're enjoying it, please follow and leave a review. I'd really love to hear from you. To sign up to the waitlist for the Live Well with Arthritis course, head to livewellwitharthritis.com/waitlist. For any questions or to suggest topics, email us over on hello@livewellwitharthritis.com. You can follow me over on @arthritisfoodie, that's ARTHRITISFOODIE. And you can also follow Live Well with Arthritis on @livewellwitharthritis So stay tuned for the latest updates, news, podcast episodes, recipes, and a whole lot more. I'll see you there. Until next time, live well and lots of love from me to you. P.S. Before you go, I have to let you know that this podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for the advice of your medical professional, whether that be your rheumatologist, GP, specialist, or other qualified professional. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.